each sentence and then we'll see what is. Okay? So do I start?
Yes, Rangada.
Yes,
Rangada.
Okay. The absolute cannot indeed be bound in its nature to manifest a cosmos of relations, but neither can it be bound not to manifest any cosmos. So everyone is discussing the various theories. If you remember, the first theory is the nirvana consciousness. Okay, you go to the second level of the spiritual planes of consciousness, and there are two possibilities. One is that you see the physical world as unreal. That's one possibility, and that's what happened to Sri Aurobindo also. The second possibility is that you are in a cosmic consciousness and you see the physical world not as unreal, but as real in time and space, but the spirit and matter are different. They are not same. Purusha and Prakriti are different. Okay, if you want Purusha and Prakriti, or spirit and matter, or consciousness and force, they seem to be different. Okay, so then the next one is that there is another level where you can go to. Okay, so that this is what he is discussing. His own theory is that, okay, that there should not be any difference between Purusha and Prakriti. Both are real, but both are separated. Only above the overmind level, they can, above the overmind level. Even in the overmind level, they are two different things. They are related to each other, but they are always different. Okay, so now he is discussing his own theory. Okay, the absolute is the highest, without any features, outside time and space. Good morning, Yasmin. The absolute cannot indeed be bound in its nature to manifest a cosmos of relations. Okay? That means you cannot force it to create the world. It can, if it wants, it need not create the world. If it wants, it can create the world. Okay? But neither can it be bound not to manifest any cosmos. It's absolutely free. It can do what it wants. It is not itself a sheer emptiness. Okay, so that's the first theory. The Brahmic consciousness is an emptiness, the Buddhistic philosophy and the Mayavada philosophy. Then the other one is the Vedantic philosophy and the Sankhya philosophy, that it is real, the physical world is real, and the Brahman consciousness contains the possibility of manifesting. Okay, now Swami is saying it is not bound to manifest. Okay? In the Sankhya philosophy, Purusha and Prakriti are always together and it is bound. Okay, this also is real, that also is real. But Swami is now discussing the other theory, that you cannot say that the physical world is absolutely sure to be manifested. Okay? If the divine wants, it need not manifest. Maybe in some other system, he is not manifesting, he is only transcendental and not the cosmic and the individual. That's what Swami is saying. Neither can it be bound not to manifest any cosmos. It is not itself a sheer emptiness, for a vacant absolute is no absolute. Remember, vacant absolute and an absolute, both are featureless. One is non-existence and one is existence. The non-existence is a vacancy. There is nothing there. The other one is, it looks to be vacant because it is featureless, but it has a potentiality to contain everything and also create everything, like the seed and the tree. Okay. You don't see the tree in the seed, but it has potentiality to do that. So now he is discussing further. Our conception, okay, Swam's own theory, of a void or zero is not only a conceptual sign of our okay. Our conception now Swam's view, the ordinary view. Okay, our conception is man and in the ignorance. Our conception of a void or zero is only a conceptual sign of our mental inability to know or grasp it. It bears in itself some ineffable essentiality of all that is and all that can be. All that is, Srilo uses the word is in the sense of exist. So it's not it's only a mental conception when you say zero, because it can contain, it bears in itself some ineffable. You can't speak about it, you can't express it. It's an essentiality of all that it can, all that is and all that can be. So whatever it is producing, whatever it will produce in the future. And since it holds in itself this essentiality and this possibility, it must also hold in itself in some way of its absoluteness, either the permanent truth or the inherent, even if latent, realizable actuality of all that is fundamental to our world's existence. So everybody is saying this because until now, the supermind has not come down. So that's what he's saying, either the permanent truth or the inherent. Right now, the supermind is inherent only. It has not been manifested. Okay, it's like the seed which has a capacity to create a tree, but if it is kept on the table, it will never create a seed. But until now, the supermind has the possibility of creating or coming down to the physical world, but the conditions have not been realized. It is like the seed on the table. Okay, but now Srindra is saying that he is not saying here, but he says elsewhere that I will take that seed and put it into the ground and water it and make sure that it gets light. That's exactly what they have done. Until now, supermind was only a seed on the table. But now the world conditions will allow, so it has been brought down. And bringing down the supermind is nothing but taking that seed which is on the table and putting it into the ground and watering it and also making sure that it gets light. So now it's only a question of time before it manifests itself. You can also see already you can see the signs in the physical world. The signs are fantastic. You can see what you call indigo children. Children 5 years old, 3 years old, playing music, creating unbelievable paintings, okay? And playing the piano at such a young age. So all these, although these are all physical traits, yet they are an indication of what is possible in the future. Okay? Even such a simple thing as even gymnastics. If you watch these videos, unbelievable things they are doing. Somersaults and going up and 3 layers, each one standing on another. All sorts of things which were impossible before. But now these things are becoming common. This is one sign of the descent of the supermind beginning to manifest itself in the physical world. But also note that all the drama that you are seeing, all the violence and all that also is a sign of the supermind coming down. Because whenever you introduce a new element into something, there's always a backlash. There's always a resistance. It's very simple because the tamasic element in humanity is very strong. You don't want change. So when the new one comes, tamas fights against the new rules. And that's the violence you're seeing everywhere. Okay? Violence, non-belief, all this. So that's what he's saying. I read the thing again. Okay? So he's saying, it bears in itself. What is the it? The absolute. It bears in itself some ineffable essentiality of all that is and all that can be. So all that is right now in the physical world up to the mental level. And all that can be, it can go even up to the supramental level. And since it holds in itself this essentiality and this possibility, it must also hold in itself in some way of its absoluteness, either the permanent truth or the inherent. Even if latent, realizable actuality of all that is fundamental to our world's existence. So in other words, he's saying inherent. The supermind is already there in the inconscient. It is there. Okay? So, and it has to become permanent. So, it is this realizable actuality, actualized, or this permanent truth, deploying its possibilities that we call manifestation and see as a universe. Okay, so the universe is nothing but the possibilities in the absolute becoming manifest. That's what it's saying. So just to make a resume of the chapter that we read yesterday half, and today I'm reading out the summary. Then we'll go on to the next paragraph. This is the fifth paragraph of the chapter. We are now going to look at various views of what the reality is. That's what he said. One theory based on spiritual experience of the self, Brahman, Nirvana, is that there is a self-existence which is the only reality. That's a Mahavada theory and a Buddhist theory. Okay? So also the Advaita theory. Okay? There is a self-existence which is the only reality. In other words, the physical world is not real. It is illusion. And that reality can be reached, it can be reached and experienced by the consciousness rising into the silent, immutable, infinite featurelessness of the self. So much is clear. You make your mind silent and go there. Also, but Sindhu says that making mind silent is not the only choice. There is another choice. Okay? You can separate yourself from the mind, life, and body, and then your consciousness can rise there. And there is a third method, which he also says in the synthesis, and that is not making the mind zero, not making it thoughtless, but increasing the mental capacity to its extreme cosmic level. That also is there. Okay, so it's very, so never restricts it to anything. So he mentions that. The third way is to enlarge the mind and not limit it or destroy it. So then you raise to that. It is a relation.
Excuse me.
Yes,
How can one enlarge the mind? Does it have anything to do with intellect?
No. Internet is a physical. But what the internet is doing, the mind also can do, enlarge and get all the knowledge that is there in the universe. The internet.
Yeah, but for that, you will have to go to the higher mind and intuitive, mind and all that.
Okay.
So how does one learn how to rise, how to jump from the physical mind into the higher mind?
Yasmin, you are asking the method of yoga. Okay. There are so many ways of doing it, and that's all the yogas. The Jnana Yoga, the Bhakti Yoga, the Karma Yoga, the Kriya Yoga, the Integral Yoga. Each one is free to choose a method. So if you want to know how to do it, you have to see what is most natural to you and follow that method. That method is altogether another subject. It goes into synthesis of yoga. It goes into synthesis. We are now discussing only the theoretical aspect, not the practical aspect. You are asking the practical aspect, okay? That is the yoga. And there are many other methods. If you want a very brief summary of all the methods, one method is to make your mind silent, as I said, or enlarge it. The internet is a very interesting symbol of the intraconscient. The intraconscient.
I think she's asking about intellectuality. I think she's asking about intellectuality. I think so. Not internet. I think so.
No. Intellect is something human and physical. A person may not be an intellectual like Ramakrishna and all, but when the spiritual knowledge comes, you just know it. Or if you're open to the psychic being, you just know it without reason, without intellect.
Yeah, but Yasmin, you asked about the internet, no?
No, my question is how to jump from the physical mind into the higher mind.
By development of yoga. Very simple in one word. And you can see pardon?
Very simple. There's great beauty in simplicity, but it is not so simple.
Of course, Yasmin, the answer is simple, not the process. The process is very difficult. Not easy. And there are so many different ways. That's what I'm saying. The answer to the question is simple. That there are methods. And those methods you have to study. Okay. You can go through the mind, you can go through the karma yoga, which is a sacrifice, do everything for the Lord and not for yourself by reducing the ego, or you can silence the mind as in jnana yoga, or you can go through the element of the bhakti. Okay. But bhakti may not take you to the spiritual level of consciousness. It will give you devotion for the Lord. Okay. Ultimately, it can lead you if you are interested in knowledge. But you may not be interested in knowledge. You may be interested only in intimacy with the divine. It depends on each individual. But if you are asking a very specific question of how to go there, you have to follow the methods prescribed. Okay? Raj Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Okay? These are the methods. So you have to know the method. Raj Yoga, for instance, there are 8 steps. Okay? Yama, Niyama, okay, asanas, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. That's a process. But you have to study it. You must know exactly what is to be done. Okay. So, how to go? Once you are convinced that there is something higher than your normal mind and intellect, then you start the process. It's a long process. It's not a short process. Okay. So, I go back to my summary. Okay. So, it can be reached, experienced by the consciousness, rising into the silent, immutable, infinite featureless of the absolute. It's a relationless absolute. Relationless absolute means only oneness. Okay, it's only one and pure. Oneness implies purity because there's no other thing to disturb it. Okay, when in that consciousness, we can see the world as an illusion and unreality. But not necessarily, that's one possibility. We can then get rid of our personality in the world. Which is the personality in the world? Your ego. Okay. Personality is the body, mind, life, and when you're identified with it, there is ego. Okay. But if you rise to the higher level of consciousness, ego disappears. Body, life, mind are seen as transient formations that break and dissolve into that from which they came. Okay. Body goes back to matter, vital goes back to universal prana, mentality goes to universal mind plane. Then we can discover ourselves to be the real person. Okay? Your real person is a true individuality, which is infinite, without ego and which is not located in time and space. Okay? Infinite consciousness, a portion of the supreme or that real person, okay, can be negated and we may merge into the original source and completely lose even our individual existence. All possibilities we will discuss it. Then in the second theory is that of a supreme reality which creates both. It creates the being as well as the becoming. Okay. The first theory is that it creates a world which is an illusion, okay, Maya. But now the second theory is that Maya is not a creator of illusions, but a creator of realities, temporal realities. So there is a being which is static, infinite, eternal, featureless. There is a becoming which is a manifestation of finite forms in time and space and eternal movement in universe. So this is second theory, Sankhya theory, okay, mainly. The first theory of the absolute, the sole reality, without features, necessarily sees the universe as an illusion, or at best, a lesser reality in time and space, whose very nature is evanescence, transience, phenomenon. Man has to disengage himself from the universe and individually from his body, vital and mind, and merge into the reality of the self, Atman, Brahman. So, the second view of the absolute, which manifests both being and becoming, both being realities, is that it's utterly free, so free that it is not even bound by its own freedom. It can bind and tie itself into limited, fixed and contrary knots of its own nature, of infinite consciousness, power and bliss. Therefore, consciousness becomes unconsciousness, Ananda can limit itself into the pain and suffering, Shakti can diminish itself into weakness. This Rebno's theory, he agrees with this. Okay? That everything is one. It's an Advaita philosophy. There is no difference between Purusha and Prakriti. There is no difference between consciousness and force, between spirit and matter. They are one, but there is a gradation. Okay, so, and this is how the absolute creates a universe of finite creating forms. And this absolute can be reached by supreme negation, the Jnana Yoga path, neti neti, or a supreme affirmation. I am pure Brahman. You can go both ways. You can either negate the lower, or you can say that I am everything. There are two ways of doing it. In the second view, the infinite featureless absolute is not a nihil, which is there in the first one. The first one, the featurelessness is a nihil. But in the second theory, the featurelessness is not a nihil. It contains everything in potentiality. It is the infinite potentiality of all possibilities. This is something that the normal mind cannot grasp easily, but the image of the tree and the seed is relevant and helps the conception. This deploying of all possibilities is what we call the universe. That's what he is telling this para. Now we can go to the next para. We have got 20 minutes. Right? My screen is playing tricks with me. Just 1 second, I just switch off and come back again. Okay, so I don't know what's happening, but the screen is playing tricks with me. I'll have to see. So now someone can read the next one. There is then in the conception of the realization of the truth of the absolute. So who will read? Archana can read if she has the text.
Yes, Rangadhari.
Go ahead.
There is then in the conception or the realization of the truth of the absolute no inherent inevitable consequence of a rejection or a dissolution of the truth of the universe. The idea of an essentially unreal universe manifested somehow by an inexplicable power of illusion, the absolute Brahman, regarding it not or aloof and not affecting it even as it is unaffected by it, is at bottom a carrying over, an imposing or imputation, adhyaropa, of an incapacity of our mental consciousness to that so as to limit it. Our mental consciousness, when it passes beyond its limits, loses its own way and means of knowledge and tends towards inactivity or cessation. It loses at the same time or tends to have no further hold on its former contents, no continuing conception of the reality of that which once was to it all that was real. We impute to absolute Parabrahman, conceived as non-manifest forever, a corresponding inability or separation or aloofness from what has become or seems now to us unreal. It must, like our mind in its cessation or self-extinction, be by its very nature of pure absoluteness, void of all connection with this world of apparent manifestation, incapable of any supporting cognition or dynamic maintenance of it that gives it a reality. Or, if there is such a cognition, it must be of the nature of an is that is not, the nature of an is that is not a magical Maya. But there is no binding reason to suppose that this jazz must exist. What our relative human consciousness is or is not capable of is no test or standard of an absolute capacity. Its concept cannot be applied to an absolute self-awareness. What is necessary for our mental ignorance in order to escape from itself cannot be the necessity of the absolute, which has no need of self-escape and no reason for refusing to cognize whatever is to it cognizable.
So in this para, he is discussing the Shankaran theory. Okay, he is saying that the world is not unreal, but they are semi-real, okay? And really, the world is a reflection on your silent mind. It is like the images that fall on a cinema screen, okay? In the ancient idea, it used to be the reflections in a mirror, okay? So the reflections are not absolutely unreal, okay? After all, you can sense them and see them, but they are only half real. They are practical realities, not essential realities. That's what he's discussing here in this paragraph, okay? So we have about 15 minutes, so less than 15 minutes, but I'll just go through again. Or I can do one thing. I'll read the summary. Then we go back to the. So, this is a 6th paragraph of the chapter. So I'm reading the summary. It's my words. Huh? Don't look for it anywhere else. So we have seen that after rising beyond the human mind into the Brahman consciousness, there are 2 possibilities, both being supported by spiritual experience. In other words, both are possible to be experienced. And what are they? One is that the physical world is unreal, and the other one is that it is real, but in time and space, and there's a gulf between the two. Okay, so then Sartre is saying both being supported by spiritual experience. The first theory sees the world as unreal, whereas the second one does not see its unreality. Okay, then it is then not at all. It is then not at all necessary to conclude that the universe is forever and fundamentally unreal. Okay, you don't need to come to that conclusion. An illusion. Okay, I'll have to just 1 second. Then it is not at all. I'll have to let me see if I can change it. I'm not able to change it. Okay, so yeah, so it is also which is partially. We have then the unmanifest. 1 second. We have then. No, where is this? This is 1 more. Okay. Yeah. The unmanifest, unknowable, we also have the manifest universe, which is partially knowable to our ignorant mind. But it's also known, fully known to the spirit, because the spirit contains the universe fully within itself. So this is experienceable by the individual. This spirit oneness may not be fully knowable to our human ignorance or human knowledge. The spirit oneness. But that oneness does manifest itself into multiplicity, which is nothing but itself. The physical world is nothing but an expression of the divine. That's what he's saying. Because nothing but spirit exists. Advaita. We go back to our basic premise, basic hypothesis. And through this multiplicity, we can touch and sense that oneness. Okay? It is possible to have the experience of even sensing the divine through physical senses. That's what he's saying. Then, although the integral view asserts the equal validity of both the one and the many, spirit and matter, Purusha Prakriti, yet it is quite legitimate to want only the one, the knowledge, the light, and reject the many. Okay? Because the many seems to be an inferior form of the. That's what he's saying. Okay? So then he's saying, it is natural, it is quite legitimate to want only the one, the knowledge, the light, and reject the many, the ignorance, the darkness, by renunciating and merging fully into the unity of spirit. That's what normally you want to do. And that's what most yogas do. This rejection of the multiplicity is based on the relative reality of the world, based on time and space, mutability, limitation, in contrast to the absolute. In contrast to the absolute reality of the timeless eternity, spaceless eternity, complete perfection of the immutable. That's what he's saying in the, this is a summary. Okay. In other words, he's saying that so many theories are there. One theory is the world is unreal. The other theory is the world is not unreal, but it is real in time and space, limited reality. And the third one is that there is a gulf between the two, and the world is an imposition. The world is an images thrown on the consciousness of the mind, just like the cinema screen. The cinema screen is the only reality, and the images that are thrown, that means whatever you are experiencing in the physical world are only images being thrown, and you think it to be real. Actually, it's only a play of images. That's what it is. Okay. So we have so yeah. So I read the summary. Okay, and now we can go back to the beginning of the paragraph and see what he said. So, there is then, I'm reading each sentence because we have some time. Okay, but my screen is not working well, so I can't see exactly how much time we have. Okay, not much time. I think 7-8 minutes we have. Okay, so we can do one thing. Either you can ask me questions, or I can start, but we'll end up only in the middle of the thing. Okay. So what would you like to do? You have to tell me.
Ask questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Since today is the golden day,
Yes.
can you say something about the golden day? Because you were present there at that time.
Okay. Yeah, there is today. Yeah, there is a the golden day. The golden day is different from the golden day is Amal has a write up on that, no? The golden day is I think the 28th. I'm not sure. I think golden day is the 28th. I'll be able to only look up and then tell you about the golden day.
No, I just got a post today whereby the Divine Mother says that this is the golden day and let it be the day of the Lord.
Acha. Okay.
So I got a post today.
Acha. Okay. So that is the day so many years ago, 1956. So how many? 1956 to 2024. So how many years already this was? Supermind is there, slowly trying to manifest itself. There is a very interesting discussion which we are going to bring out in Mother India soon, okay, about the various experiences that people had. There was, Amal had a small experience. He was in the train and he saw Mother standing in the train and not saying anything. He just saw Mother. So he knew, he asked Mother and Mother said, yes, I told you that I'll tell you about the supermental descent and I came to just inform you that that has happened. But it wasn't his words. Then there was another one, Indu Bhai Patel, who was in East Africa and he had an experience. And Mother spoke of some other people also who had, and one of them is Bendre. Okay. He is a poet in Karnataka and he had a beautiful experience. This is not known to me. Recently only I came to know about it. He was a follower of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. He is a very well-known poet in Karnataka, okay, Kannada. So he had the experience. He was in a train. And when he was in the train, the fan on top, on the ceiling of the coach was whirling and he saw like rain, golden rain coming down from the fan. And he wrote a poem also on it. And we are going to bring all that out in Mother India. Various people had different experiences. So that's what we're going to do. So that's a golden day's experiences. Mother spoke about 2 or 3 people outside the ashram. And she didn't speak about anyone in the ashram except Amal. But Amal also was outside the ashram at that time. So he said, she said, I won't take names because that will start all sorts of discussions and doing, which is not necessary at all. Okay. But there's one thing, she did tell, and that has come down to us later on. Paru Patil, okay, not Patel, Paru Patil was the registrar of the school to begin with. Okay, and she was, and now none of them in the family is there. There are boys who are there in Bombay, Prabhu Charan and Arvind Prasad and others, and they had the house, which was, it was their own house, Shankar Gowda. Okay, so his daughter, Paru Patil, was also a fit person for the supramental race. That's what she told Paru Patil. And Paru Patil's youngest sister, Shanta Patil, who has passed away now, she revealed that mother had told Paru Patil, that you are a candidate for that. Okay, but there's something also which is not yet published. Okay, the Sendo says that they will have thousands of children and they will be the forerunners of the supramental race. There is a beautiful passage. If you want tomorrow, we can read that passage in Savitri, where it's describing the supramental race, the golden sun-eyed children. Okay, he describes. It's beautiful, but today the time is over, it's 38. So tomorrow I'll get that passage and read out to you, where he's forecasting the supramental race, those who are going to come down. Okay. And it's a passage about 1.5 pages. He's just telling who they will be. Okay. Architects and builders and wonderful. It's a tremendous passage, very well-known passage. We'll read that tomorrow. Okay.
Savitri Nagada?
Yes, it's Savitri.
Yeah, it starts with,
The
I saw
forerunners.
the omnipotent pioneers over the heavenly
exactly.
world,
That's right.
towards the towards over the heavenly world, towards birth, came
Yeah.
crowding down the ember stairs of birth,
That's right.
forerunners of a divine multitude.
That's right.
Which
It's a
canto?
fantastic
Which
passage.
canto?
I don't know. I think it's somewhere page 363 or somewhere in that vicinity.
No, all you have to do is to get that passage, is to write Amber Stairs. Amber, Amber Stairs. Okay. And then you'll get the passage.
And Sri Aurobindo said that he has seen the amber stairs. It's not his imagination.
Yeah,
He has
absolutely.
seen the amber stairs.
Yes, yes. He
And
says that all the,
Huda's painting also shows those amber stairs with those little babies on the staircase.
yes,
In
yes.
fact, he says everything is what he has actually seen. Nothing is imagination. All of Savitri is actually what he has seen. Is what
His
he
own
says.
Yeah,
experience.
yeah, all their experiences.
Yeah.
But to us, it sounds like an imagination because we have not seen it.
Yeah.
So
What
we
have
can
we
only imagine the amber staircase.
What have we seen?
Yeah. He says in the letter to Amal that all the colors that I'm describing are actually, I have seen those colors. It's not poetic imagination. It is absolutely the real thing that I'm describing. When he says gold, it is gold. When he says rose, it is rose. When he says amber, it is amber. Okay. He's actually seeing these things. Right. Okay. I'm closing now. We'll meet tomorrow
Thank you, Raghunatha.
Merci beaucoup.
for
Thank you,
synthesis.
Agada.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Dada.
Have a nice every day. Today, a very special day. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you.